All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Yak podcast. We're talking some Premier League soccer that just happened. Actually, we're recording right after the Chelsea Manchester United game, and I actually have a Manchester United fan and a Chelsea fan. Let's start off with the Waleed. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. A bit annoyed by the match, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to ask, like, how did you become a Chelsea fan?
That's a bit controversial. Everyone always accuses me of being a glory hunter, but so I started around when Roman Abramovich became the owner of Chelsea. So just like probably most Chelsea fans. So it was around. So okay, I'll tell you the background actually. So my brother and my dad used to support Arsenal, and I used to support them too, but I didn't really support them. I just followed my brother and my dad. I was like 5 or 6 years old, and then Arsenal, they won the league with the unbeaten, the Invincibles, and then the following season they weren't doing as well, and then me and two of our neighbors, they were brothers, Daniel and Dawood, they were getting annoyed too, and like they just said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna stop supporting Arsenal. So I just followed them as well. I said, okay, I'm gonna stop supporting Arsenal. One of them said they're gonna support Real Madrid. One of them said they're gonna support Chelsea. So I followed one of them and said I'll support Chelsea too. And the funny thing is, they didn't actually mean it. They just said it as a joke. And I actually started supporting Chelsea, and from then on, never looked back. And Chelsea won the league that season, so it worked out in my favor.
And that was probably the first time they won in a while, right?
Yeah, I think it's since like 1965 or something, or 1956, something. Yeah, around 50 years.
That was Mourinho's first season too, I think, as
Yeah, his
coach.
first season. Yeah.
That was
So
a sick team, man. Like Drogba, Gallus,
yeah, like
who else was
everyone was so
Makalele was on
strong.
that team. That
Yeah,
was a sick
everyone was
team.
so strong. Like we had the spy of Czech, John Terry, Lampard, Drogba, and then everyone around them. Yeah, everyone just loved playing for Mourinho at the time.
And the other voice you just heard was Ismail. How are you, man?
Good. I'm in good spirits that we managed a 1-1 draw against top team in the league right now. You know, United's in a very transitionary stage, so we'll take 1 point when we can get it.
And you have Trinidadian roots, so I think your origin story was from a Trinidad player, right?
Yeah, I think I had started. So my cousin's a big Arsenal fan, and he had followed soccer a lot. But in the late '90s, early 2000s, you couldn't really watch Premier League soccer in America. So I never got to watch games. But he got me into playing FIFA, and so it must have been like 2001, 2002. I started playing FIFA and just enjoyed it as a game. And then when I went into high school in ninth grade, I met a friend who was a United fan, and he would talk about the game. So I started just trying to follow on SoccerNet, the stats and stuff before it was, I guess, ESPN FC. And then I just started to learn more about United. I had liked Van Nistelrooy as a player. And as I learned more and I realized, oh, there was this Trinidadian guy on the team, Dwight York, and he was on that amazing team that won the treble in 99. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, Trini roots, and I like Van Nistelrooy, and I had always liked Beckham. I actually thought he was good. I didn't think he was just like a, star. He was actually a good winger. Learned about, Ferguson and that history. So I just thought, okay, this is a good team I should support. And then, yeah, I had some good runs, some good years. Until things started to fall apart in 2010 onwards, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that they were like probably the best team like while you were growing up. We should mention that
Yeah,
you were in Miami and Waleed was in London, so Waleed definitely had a lot more access to all of the teams.
yeah. I wonder about that if I would have still supported them, like if I lived or I got to watch more of the games. I mean, there were some amazing teams back then, like so stacked. Arsenal was stacked. Chelsea definitely was stacked. Um, I mean, in the late 90s, Alan Shearer was still playing for like Newcastle, and they were a really good team. So the dynamics were different, but I think it was just Fergie and the reputation that he had that made me decide, okay, I'm going to support United.
Because really in the US, like you weren't able to watch that much until probably like maybe 2012, maybe.
Yeah, like the most you could get was, I think when I was in high school, we started getting Champions League. And then, of course, United was in the Champions League, so that was nice because your team that you support is actually playing in the league. I had friends that were Liverpool fans, and they were, of course, they had that amazing run. I mean, they had a solid team too with Gerrard and all these guys. So, yeah. And then I think NBC got the contract in like 2012 or 2013, something like that. And I had actually stopped watching soccer for a while. I just got so busy with work. So as it started to take off in America, I didn't get to watch as much. And only last maybe 4 or 5 years, I've been able to pick it back up and actually watch games on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning. So it's nice.
Yeah, you guys actually in the US get way more access to football matches than we do over here.
Really?
On Saturdays we get access to probably, I think, around 2 or 3 of the matches on like live TV, and on Sunday we get another 2 or 3 matches. Champions League we get all of the matches, but Premier League we barely have any access.
There's that like blackout period, right? Like during the day or something like that.
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. games. I think that's 10 a.m. matches in the US.
Yeah.
I think the reason behind it is that so fans go and watch the lower leagues, the lower league matches, just because they need more support. So they do it for that reason, but I'm not sure. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because they definitely conflict like a lot of, even here like college and NFL, like they don't really conflict on the days. They picked like Saturday and Sunday. But like lower leagues, if you're going to like, I don't know, basketball, there's like there could be high school, college, and NBA at the same time. Like there's no difference. But yeah, we'll get started with that United game that we just saw versus Chelsea. Coming into the match, obviously Chelsea, they beat Juventus pretty thoroughly and are probably coming in as one of the hottest teams, not just in England, but in Europe. So like what were your expectations for this team?
Sorry, are you saying that to me or Ismail?
Yeah, you.
Oh, sorry. I honestly thought that we were going to win it easily just because of Man United's recent form and the sacking of Solskjær, and Chelsea's recent, quite long, the whole season, how well we've been playing. I thought it would just continue. I had high hopes. I was expecting probably like a 2-0 win. Top of the table. I thought, we'd go 4 points clear again, but I was kind of disappointed just because of the way we conceded the first goal, or the only goal. Jorginho, he always has a mistake in him. It seems. I mean, he's a good player. I like him in the team. He makes the team tick, but he always has a mistake in him, and I guess he made up for it with the penalty. But who knows, if we hadn't conceded, we might have ended up scoring anyway without that goal we conceded and won. But I was quite disappointed. Even the players, there were quite a few players that just didn't play that well. We had a few injuries too. Would have wanted Kante in the team, but obviously he had a recent injury in the Juventus game, knee injury. Same with Chilwell. Both of them would have made a massive difference because Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he's been showing like quite a lot of potential recently. He's been playing well, but he doesn't have that end product. He always seems to dribble past everyone. You probably saw in this game as well. He was dribbling past everyone, and then when it would come close to the box, he would just turn around, then pass to either Reece James or just another midfielder. He would end up finding that that killer pass through the defense. Or even shooting, he's always afraid to shoot. So if Kante was there, he would have been the one waiting back then instead of Jorginho when the counter attack was done, and he seems to do well. Even he's quite underrated when he's in his offensive game.
Except against Martinelli.
Yeah. It was a slip. It wasn't because of his ability. It was because of the slip. But That was years ago now. So yeah, Kante, he's quite good offensively, especially against Man United. He scored quite a few goals against them. I think half of his goals have probably come against Man United. So he probably would have done well again. And Chilwell, yeah, he definitely would have been better than Alonso. Alonso, he's always on and off. He's quite inconsistent. Some games he's really good. Some games he's just on the complete opposite end. He always he just seems quite one-dimensional. He always does the same things. Yeah. If he was further up taking shots, that's when he's good. Otherwise, with crosses and passes, he just doesn't seem to be that good. So yeah, I guess injuries let us down too.
Yeah, and then United, obviously starting was it Lindelof and Bailly because of Maguire's red card in the last game, I believe. So yeah, I mean, you were happy with the point.
Shaw was injured too.
Yeah,
but they did good. Bailly and Lindelof, like, I mean, they took an enormous amount of pressure from Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea must have had like 16, 17 corners or something. I mean, like, I don't think United got a shot on target the whole first, or even a shot, I think the whole first half, because they're just stuck back there. But Bailly and Lindelof actually played really well. But yeah, I also thought it was interesting that Werner started. I feel like Werner didn't, like, he couldn't convert on some of the opportunities he had.
he had one good chance.
Havertz was gonna come in.
He had one good chance where Wan-Bissaka came over and kind of blocked him off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, United stood well because I'm pulling up the stats right now. It was 15 corners to 2. So yeah, all those balls coming in on off crosses and everything, and obviously they dominated possession 66%. So I mean, they did well defensively.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking though, because it's like you can only sustain so much pressure for so long. Like, I'm like, eventually Chelsea just gonna, ball's gonna slip, someone's gonna make a small mistake. I mean, the penalty, it was just pressure, and Wan-Bissaka, like, it was a fair attempt at the ball. He just caught his foot. So of course, if you make contact, it's gonna be a penalty. But it was like, oh my God, they've been holding up so much pressure for so long, and then to concede the penalty like that, I was like, oh. But I mean, it's definitely a penalty. So
yeah, they couldn't really put together that many passes like consistently.
No, I mean, on the defensive side, I remember in other games like Liverpool, they were getting destroyed down the wings, right? Like, they were just carving this up on the wing. But it looked like United was forcing Chelsea players to at least come inside, and then there were defenders there, or there was like Fred. I mean, Fred's such a workhorse, man. That dude he's all over. I mean, he doesn't have the offensive prowess, but he does his job to just, like, I mean, if he wasn't there, I don't know what would have gone on. But they were.
That's why the manager trusts him and McTominay, because like they're just gonna work hard.
Yeah, exactly. They'll go after everything.
Yeah, United they did set themselves up defensively as well. It seemed like that from the Champions League game, that since Michael Carrick's come in, he sets them up defensively, probably just because he wants to sort out defense before anything. So yeah, obviously if you're playing Fred, Matic and McTominay, all three of them, then you won't have much opportunities to attack. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, without like Pogba there to get creative and make some passes, I mean, he's injured, but yeah, we don't have that kind of end-to-end midfielder kind of guy. I mean, Bruno sometimes will come back deep, but he was pretty high up the pitch today. It was almost like a 4-3-3, and him, Rashford, Sancho were just up, and which was interesting. I actually thought it was a good move to bench Ronaldo and bring him on. I mean, he didn't get to do too much in the last 20 minutes of the game, but
at the very least, get him some rest.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been playing every game.
Yeah, and a full 90 minutes like most games. So yeah, I think it's interesting though. I don't get it. Like, Carrick was a part of that same coaching staff as Solskjaer. So he's made some very different moves compared to Solskjaer. So I'm just like, what was going on? Was it just not Solskjaer just ignoring his suggestions, or is he just trying to, I don't know, push buttons and stuff? It just seems different, but it's the same staff minus Solskjaer. So I'm confused.
Yeah. That seems to happen quite a lot whenever there's a sacking and it's the same backroom staff. The team changes quite a bit because at the end of the day, when the manager was in there, Solskjaer was in there, or for example, when Frank Lampard was sacked, the interim manager was there for a couple of games. The team always changes because at the end of the day, it's the manager's final say. So even if they're getting any tips or any advice from their assistant coaches, that's still their final decision. So whatever they decide is suitable, they'll go with that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. United said they're gonna, try to appoint that Ralf Rangnick guy, and he's supposedly the grandfather or whatever of like this German attacking football with Klopp and Tuchel. So it'll be interesting to see how fast he comes in.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing that United seemingly have made an actual footballing decision and not just like go after another big name manager who may not be as good a fit, or like Zidane doesn't know English that good. So, like it's interesting. I mean, I think we have players that can fit into Ranieri's system. Although Ronaldo, I don't know how he might, because he just doesn't, they play that high pressing game, which I think you have to nowadays. Like Chelsea plays it, Liverpool plays it, PSG would like to play it, but they have 3 guys who don't press at all.
Yeah, that was the biggest difference between like them and City. Like the talent is, they probably have more talent, but it's crazy how much different, like how much Jesus runs, how much De Bruyne runs, how much Sterling runs. It's like they have the top players and like the top press, I guess. Like same with Liverpool.
Yeah, and the teams just know, like everybody knows where each other is going to be. They can expect this guy's going to be in this space, and when they press as a unit. Like United under Solskjaer would try to press once in a while, and it would just fall apart because no one like properly knew where to go. It was so weird to watch.
It's usually like only Bruno and maybe like Fred, and then like maybe a couple other guys join in because they see them pressing.
Yeah, it was weird. And I think Solskjaer was trying to perhaps appease some other, I don't know if it's staff or just noise, like, hey, try this, do that. But the players, I don't think they bought into it. So if someone like Ranieric can like really hammer these points and in training, make sure that over time, it's going to take time, but it is exciting that he has that record in, the Bundesliga, and obviously his disciples and Tuchel and, Klopp and some of these other guys there's a record there. So it would be interesting to see what he does in his consultancy role and who they'll bring in afterwards to continue that work.
Waleed, is it like kind of like a thing in England that there's no good English coaches? Like I feel like the best coaches right now are all German.
Yeah, I mean, there never has been a good English coach because even Sir Alex Ferguson, he wasn't really considered English, he was Scottish. So the best English coach is probably Eddie Howe, and he's just recently gone to Newcastle. Everyone's always raving on about Eddie Howe because he done a good job with sorry, not Eddie Howe, I meant Graham Potter for Brighton. Yeah, Graham Potter. Yeah, but he's supposed to be really good. Everyone's been talking about him because I'm not sure if you saw last season. There's a stat called expected goals and expected points. There's a whole Twitter account called Expected Goals Philosophy, and they do loads of stats with that. And last season, Brighton massively underperformed their expected goals, and the reason for that was they just couldn't finish their chances. And obviously, that isn't really down to the manager; that's down to the players. So in terms of chance creation and defensively, Brighton were really good last season. They created loads of chances, and the expected points table at the end of the season, they would have been around like 4th or 5th or something. Yeah, there was a table that was released at the end of the season, and they were 4th or 5th. But because they couldn't take those chances, I can't remember where they came to the table, but they were obviously way lower than that. And yeah, everyone's saying how good Graham Potter is, but yeah, like if you went to a better team with better strikers, better players, then surely he would do well. But other than him, I don't think there are many good English managers. Yeah, it does seem to be that German coaches are all really good with Klopp, Tuchel, the Germany manager, I think Hansi Flick, who won it with won the Champions League with Bayern Munich, and then the new Bayern Munich manager, Nagelsmann. Yeah, it seems like everyone's German nowadays, apart from Pep, obviously.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the XG chart for this game. I was surprised United was 0.8. That's pretty high for them.
That's probably because of the chance that they scored in with the Sancho's chance. Because of that, it was pretty much a 1-on-1 with Rashford on his side, so you could have passed to him or scored. So because of that, it was 0.86. Otherwise, if you saw that XG at halftime, I think Man United was 0.02 or 0.06, something like that, and Chelsea was 0.85 or something like that. So yeah, it was, I reckon it's because of that chance, because they did. Oh, it was Fred's chance as well, the one where he tried chipping Mendy.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that was kind of a bad decision from him. I think Lingard was offside though, so I don't know if he had any really good passing options either.
He had to wait. Like I don't know if he could have hit Ronaldo, because Ronaldo was, I don't know if he was onside or not, but he knew Lingard was, so he's like, I can't pass him. But yeah, he doesn't have maybe Ronaldo could have pulled off that chip, but
Yeah,
it
so
was a
going
good
up.
shot though. I mean, oh sorry, yeah, I was just saying that there was a good chance to actually score that with the chip that he tried, because there was quite a lot of space behind Mendy. He just didn't put it off very well. Yeah, Fernand, Bruno, Ronaldo, as you said, Ismail, probably would have scored that, or would have had a better attempt.
Yeah, next game, United actually plays Arsenal. There's a quick turnaround. There's a bunch of games in December. It's a pretty even match so far. Like pretty even match. Like I think, close in the table. So what do you think? What do you think? Who do you think is going to finish higher at the end of the season?
I mean, I would like to say United, just because I think, like, I mean, they have to. Like, if they don't get top 4, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, they just have to as a club, and I'm sure Rangnick knows that he has to get them there. I mean, Tuchel came in he had 6 months, and they won the Champions League. So, like, we're not saying you have to win the Champions League or even win the Premier League. Just get top 4, And I think Arsenal is playing a longer game with Arteta, and they realize, okay, I don't know if both Arsenal and United can get top 4. That just seems,
Probably not.
yeah, I doubt, So I think United has to, and I think on paper they have better players than Arsenal, but Arsenal has been interesting. I mean, they definitely look much better than at the beginning of the season. So I guess this game will kind of maybe be telling. Who knows?
When did Lampard like actually get fired? Like when did Tuchel come in? Like January?
Yeah, Tuchel came in January. I think Lampard got sacked in December, so just a 1-month difference. It was
That's
a quick
crazy.
turnaround, I guess, but he had the players, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're stacked in like defense, midfield, and attack. So like I feel like Lampard was underachieving. So
yeah, especially with all the signings he made, he should have been doing a lot better. He done really well in his first season, considering we had a transfer ban. Top 4, played all the young players and lost our best player in Hazard. But yeah, he's still done really well, got top 4. And then the following season, we're probably expecting to improve, especially with all the signings, go for the title, but it just didn't happen. And Tuchel came in and won the Champions League.
yeah, do you obviously you expect to go far in the Champions League again this year? I think they already made it to the knockout stages, right?
Yeah, Chelsea have already made it to the knockout stages. Chelsea and Juventus both. Now it just depends on the final match, who comes first in the group stage, because they're both level on points. If both of them win, then Chelsea will come out on top because of their head-to-head. Yeah, because Chelsea won 4-0, and obviously Juventus, I think they beat Chelsea 2-0. So because of that, Chelsea will come out on top if the points are level. And obviously, if Juventus win and Chelsea lose, then Juventus will come first.
Then same with United in the Champions League. They beat Villarreal, so they seem like they're in a good position to advance as well.
Yeah, I think they're guaranteed a spot. Yeah, I mean, at this point, again, we're just we just got to be in the round of 16, you know. So first, second doesn't really matter at this point. But I mean, Ronaldo has like saved our Champions, you know, because I mean, some terrible performances. Like we shouldn't even have won some of those games. But I mean, Ronaldo's just, you know, for all the talk of his not working, and I mean, he probably perhaps as, you know, he changed up the system that I think Solskjaer was probably working on with Cavani and Rashford up front, and so he changed that up. He definitely is not, you know, he's 36. He's not who he was. He's not going to go back and defend as much. So it's been like this weird dynamic because he brings so much positive to the team also, but maybe perhaps for the future of the team and how the team grows and all that, it's a net negative perhaps. But as a United fan, it's just so hard to not, you know, support him being there, and he has saved the team a few times. And I mean, you know, if our defense is going to be so kind of hit or miss, then you kind of need someone like him to just guarantee you a goal or two in front of the stick. So yeah, it's kind of amazing that we're in the running. If we were in a tougher group, for sure we wouldn't be there. We'd be out. Like, I don't see how we would have made it out. But you know, Villarreal, Young Boys, Atalanta, we should get out of there. Definitely should have been first, and we are, but it just doesn't feel right. It feels like something's wrong, and we're just kind of fluked our way to the round of 16.
Yeah, even Villarreal, they were playing well for most of the game, but second half, De Gea made some crazy saves, and
yeah, that's another guy.
They just made a mistake.
Yeah, that's another guy we got to tip our hat to. I mean, De Gea is playing kind of out of his mind. I mean, he's had one or two mess ups, you know, but I mean, even today, like that first shot by, what was it, Hudson-Odoi, that save by De Gea, I was like, what? How did he do that? I thought that was a goal for sure. And I was like, oh, here we go. Here comes the drubbing. Here comes, you know, 3-0, 4-0. But those kinds of saves, they just give you such confidence as a defender that, you know, you've got this guy behind you. So then I think Bailly and Lindelof, you know, buckle down. But yeah, I think in the Villarreal game on, what was it, Tuesday, I think they just got tired. Villarreal probably just got tired, and United were able to kind of capitalize on that. So I don't know if that was Carrick's plan, like, hey, just hold the defense for like 60, 70 minutes. They'll probably make a mistake, and then you could score. Seemed to have worked, but yeah, you can't do that unless you have a world-class keeper like De Gea there. If De Gea wasn't there and in such form, I don't know what, would have definitely lost.
Yeah, he was definitely playing for the draw.
Yeah, that's what I thought for sure.
I mean, that's what it seemed like in this game too. So, but yeah, I think that's all the questions I have for you guys. Waleed, as like a neutral, who do you think like has played better? Obviously, Arsenal has changed from the first couple of weeks, a bunch of injuries and a couple of transfers that they brought in late. But who do you think is like was a better opponent or better team so far this season between Arsenal and United?
In terms of the better team, I would say Arsenal have played better if we're excluding the first part, just because obviously Arsenal have massively improved since then, and Arteta has seemed to change the lineup as well quite differently to what it was in the first few games. So I think in terms of how they played, they've been playing better. I still think Man United will be higher than them in the Premier League table just because of the players they have, and whatever manager they get, I assume he's going to be a good manager, top manager, and he will, and because of the players they have, he'll get them to top four or even anywhere higher than Arsenal, to be fair, because I don't see Arsenal keeping this form up. Form. They're doing well at the moment, especially now that December's coming, where there's always approximately around 2 games every week, and Arsenal's backup isn't so great. Even Man United isn't so great, to be fair, but they still have better players than Arsenal. But yeah, it does seem like Arteta has a sort of playing style now, and he is doing well with the team. But I still don't see them keeping up.
Yeah, we got to give credit to West Ham as well. They've been playing out of their minds. They obviously lost to Manchester City recently, but other than that, they've been keeping up pace with like pretty much all the other top teams. They've probably been the most fun team to watch so far this season.
Yeah, they're currently at, the 4th or 5th, maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're tied for 4th with Arsenal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, they had
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying in the beginning, Antonio and Saeed Benrahma, they were doing really well. And obviously, yeah, recently, when they haven't been playing as well recently, the other players have stepped up.
Yeah, even as a United fan, Ismail, I think they beat you right at Old Trafford, but obviously they play an electric style football.
Yeah, like I mean, it just shows you what like a good team unit can do. You know, if you go at each position, obviously they have some really good guys like Antonio. I mean, he big dude. He can, he has hit you with some pace. You have Declan Rice. I mean, he had a really good season. Benrahma, these other guys, and they.
Basmati. I've seen people call Rice that on Twitter.
Really?
It's funny.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, they play like they know what they have a game plan. They're gonna follow it, and yeah, it's fun to watch them. It's fun to watch them. I think even like how Lingard's been linked to joining them at the end of the season and stuff, and he played really well for them when he was with them last season. So he would be another just nice piece for West Ham to have in their rotation of players. So I think they'll be good. I mean, it'll be how much can they hold on to their good players? I mean, people are going to want to come after Declan Rice and some of these other guys. But if they can hold on or maybe add players, over time, they'll be good for a while.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be in the Europa League, contention probably with Arsenal.
Yeah,
and maybe Wolves. Probably Leicester's been up and down, but they're going to be there at the end of the season as well.
Yeah, they had a good win on, I think, what was it, today or yesterday? I saw they won like 4-2 or something like that.
Yeah, to Watford. Like Watford gives up so many goals, and then somehow United like lost to them.
I knew it. I was just like, please let United lose to Watford, because if we lose, then there's no way they can let this man stay if they get destroyed by Watford. So I was just like, come on, get that third goal, get that fourth goal. And it worked. It finally worked. I mean, it was just terrible that it came to that, but they're not good. So for us to lose that badly to them was just
without
terrible.
those last 2 goals.
Exactly. Just like,
Yeah,
I mean, it
might
had
still
to be
have a job if they won that game.
I know, that's the thing. I'm just like, come on. If he, like, when we beat Spurs, I mean, Spurs is whatever right now. So beating them wasn't even that great of a thing. But it's like all this little false hope that just keeps coming that people kept putting in Solskjaer. And of course, it's not just Solskjaer, it's players. And I think a lot of the players have underperformed for sure. But you have to, it all falls on the manager at the end of the day. And they know that. Solskjaer knows that. But, because of, I think I heard some pundit saying, Solskjaer scored probably the most important goal in United history in a matter of a few minutes. And because of that, they gave him 3 years as the United manager. Like that should have never been, it should have never been. And I'm definitely at fault too. Like when Solskjaer came in after Mourinho, we were just like, thank God Mourinho's gone, because that didn't work. I mean, Mourinho's a fantastic manager and proofs in the pudding at Chelsea. And I mean, Inter and all these other clubs, but it didn't work and players were upset, and Solskjaer came in and I guess they were just so relieved. They won or they hadn't lost in 10 games or something when he was interim manager. And so
I
they're
remember
like,
they
okay.
knocked out PSG in like the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. So people were just like, this is amazing. Oh my
give
God.
this man the contract.
I just give it to him. And that should have never happened. But yeah, it dragged on for too long. So we needed to just sever the ties and go separate ways.
Yeah, because like seemingly all the like the pundits that are, former United players like Rio and a couple other guys, they're gonna support him because he's probably their friend and he played with them. They're never gonna say like, oh, get this man out of here. Which is funny because
they were
Chelsea did
frustrated.
similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like all the clubs are feeling they have a soft spot for all their legends. Even though Arteta isn't really a legend, but Arteta, Lampard, Solskjaer, and probably Gerrard for Liverpool next. Eventually, when he does go to Liverpool, they'll probably keep him longer than he needs to be there.
It seemed like he did well with Rangers, and now he's getting a good chance at Aston Villa.
Yeah, he won the league in Rangers for the first time. Rangers won the league for the first time after I don't know how many years, but Celtic were winning consistently before that. I know that for sure. But yeah, so he must have done really well, even though they are a small team in comparison to like bigger Premier League teams. Still done well considering how well Celtic were doing previously, and now Aston Villa. They were done really well last season, and the beginning of this season they just haven't been living up to expectations, and they'll probably get top 10, I reckon. And if they do, I think that will be a successful Gerrard.
Yeah, definitely. The other guy that I've been watching that I feel like has done something good, but he hasn't been able to break it just yet, is Vieira at Crystal Palace. Like, that's an exciting team, but they've lost a few games, and I was just like, oh man, this must be gut-wrenching to lose these games. But Vieira seems like a good manager so far, but haven't gotten all the results they were hoping for.
Yeah, they're 11th right now, but like even for them, if they get like top 10, they'll probably be pretty happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they always seem to be fighting for relegation, fighting against relegation every single season. They just about make it. They're always coming on 14th, 15th.
Yeah, I think next time we'll probably have to have a discussion about Southgate and the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. I think they just gave him a new contract though, right?
Yeah, that's another one I'm like confused by. I don't know. I don't feel like he puts out some interesting squads for sure. I mean, he has a tough set of choices to make. I mean, there's this England batch of players. There's a good amount to choose from in each position, I think.
Yeah, it's really annoying though. He just makes the weirdest decisions. A few people, he has quite a big following for some reason. I'm not sure why, even though everyone thinks that because he got to England got to the semi-finals of the World Cup, that they done really well. But it was a really easy. They had really easy teams. They had an easy run that any manager would have got them that far. And then they lost to Croatia, who arguably aren't that great. So yeah, everyone is just quite nostalgic with that. They're thinking, oh, he's really good. And because I think years ago he done well for them for the England squad when he was a player. But his squad selection is really weird. I don't agree with it. Why would you play Kyle Walker when you have Reece James and Alexander Arnold? And he always seems to play Trippier at left back, even though you've got Luke Shaw and Chilwell. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and I think next time we're gonna have to talk more about the international play, especially I think there's a playoff. I saw there's a group with like Portugal and Italy, and only one of them can make the World Cup.
That's
But
nuts.
yeah, that's ridiculous. Especially Italy literally just won the Euros. But yeah, thanks for joining me. It was fun to talk about Premier League matches, and I guess good luck this season.
Thank you. Good luck
Same
to
to
you
you
too.
guys, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
And
having
I
me.
appreciate you guys listening. You guys can subscribe on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get it. And thanks for tuning in.